Welcome to the Just Loans podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Danny.
Join us every Monday, Wednesday and Friday where we share stories from our travels, discuss important topics relating to camper vans and motorhomes, as well as some occasionally useful tips and tricks to make life easier for you while you're on the road. I've persuaded you to come back.
I know.
Again.
I've noticed you said Monday, Wednesday and Friday.
3 a week.
Have I got to be on all of them?
Hopefully not.
Okay.
Because it's a nightmare trying to get her. Honestly, trying to fit us in our busy schedule is impossible. You're in high demand.
Well, be grateful, babe.
I am. So, yes, we've stepped it up to 3 episodes per week. 2 minimum with you.
Okay.
And 1 of just me, where anyone else will watch. But we're on episode 9, though. Nearly in double digits.
You've done well.
We've done well. It's a communal achievement. Thanks to everyone for the support. I think we've got a little button. Woo, woo, woo.
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. Before we get into this episode, I just want to mention that was it Sunday we went to Raby Castle?
Yeah.
So we went to Raby Castle on Sunday, and not going to lie, I was impressed with the castle.
It was really good.
I think I don't know if I've been there as a kid.
I've never been. First time, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
But I used to drive past it every week. So me Nana and Granda had a caravan in Barney Castle. Mm-hmm. So obviously we used to drive past it. Castle itself was great. The gardens with the deer park and all that, also great. I should have took a proper camera lens and I didn't, but never mind. What did really boil my piss?
Come on.
There's like a kids play park type situation where essentially they go in and it's just like climbing like stuff, just a park basically, but in a woodland thing. Mm-hmm. So we went to get them tickets for that, and I thought it was only how much, a couple of quid each, wasn't it, for the kids?
No, it was about £6.50.
£6.50 each
entry.
Which is you think cheap. It's not that bad for that? Oh no, I've got to pay for me and Danny to get in and watch the kids. What a scam. What a disgrace. What
true,
why?
Though.
Who decided that that's okay?
I'd have to go back on and see actually what the price was for...
I'm checking while we're going to discuss this.
So it was called Plotters.
What's it called? Plotters what?
Well, it's called Raby Castle, but it's called Plotters World or something like that.
I was disgusted by it, to be honest.
You could upgrade, but even still, we had to still pay for us to go in. That's what we didn't like.
I just don't understand why,
so Chris point blank refused. No.
It just says kids, sorry, you're not. There, so it's $7.50 for kids per kid, and then £8 for an adult.
Yeah. Why is the adult more expensive when you're not even going on?
Because they're absolutely jipping you, that's why. It's a disgrace.
But it's not even big, like that one wasn't even big enough, I don't think, for us to go on. However, there's one at, what was it called? At a castle. Going off topic.
I don't know what you're talking about anymore.
Lindori.
Oh,
that's really good. But an adult can go on though. Like we could go on there with them.
We were part of that situation where this one...
Whereas that one's too small, I would say, for us to be able to go on.
It was disgusting.
So I think the price should be at least half price for adults or just free. What's wrong with free adults? Because
it's a scam. It is. And what they say is, you can't... that's what they said. Kids can't go on unsupervised either. Because I was like, we'll just let the kids are old enough, it's fine. Sure, if they let themselves, I'd probably hear.
We would just watch them through the fence.
I wasn't even that bothered about watching them.
No, but if I needed an adult...
free for an hour.
Technically, I could have watched them through the fence, so technically I'd be still supervising.
But no, you can't do that. Scam. That's what it is. Disgusting. Raby Castle, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Apart from that, though, it was a lovely castle.
That was great. Other than that...
And the price, in fairness, wasn't that extreme.
Nah, for 5 of us it wasn't. It was like 30 odd quid.
£36 for
the castle and the grounds. But to be fair, the grounds were great, and the castle was probably the best castle I've been in.
Yeah.
It was very impressive.
There was deer.
Some coin they must have. You know when you see these like families or lords and all that sort of stuff, where have they got all that money from? What have they been doing to get that? When I was Googling him who owns that land, he's got more land than the Queen.
I know.
And that's just dead now, but than the royal family. How? What have you been doing? What are you up to?
Don't know.
Disgusting.
But there is deer in the park, which was really good as well.
There was red deer, and I don't know what the other type were, but I don't know if it tells you on the website actually. But anyway, that's irrelevant. It's worth a trip just in it, get in the thing because it's a rip. So this is another topic that I'm going to discuss with you today, and I want your opinion on it. So I sent another survey out. It's becoming a bit of a running thing, this, isn't it? I sent another survey out because we've been talking about things lately and just sort of more about like, why do we wait for like something big to happen before we actually start focusing on the less material things and start just becoming a little bit more present and seeking, say, making memories rather than just stuff. So I sent out a survey to the mailing list. And again, if anyone wants to be part of the mailing list, there's a link in the description and I'll send you a free guide to the Isle of Arran for signing up to it. So you're welcome. And basically I asked a few questions because we do think that is the case, don't we? That people wait. Why do you think people wait?
I think it's because you think you've got endless time. But we are just mere mortals, and sometimes it's not until you have a scare with your health or something, a loss or whatever that might be for you, that I think it brings you back down to earth and you realise you're only a mere mortal, and it's like, I have got time, like a ticking time before, and then when you reach a point where I suppose it doesn't even matter, because sometimes you can go through your whole life up until, say, I don't know, you're 60 or something happens and it makes you realise, or you can be at a younger age, I'm saying my younger, but not really.
Older age, yeah.
But like around our age of like, say when we were in our 30s or early 30s, that we got the wake up call, really. Yeah.
Do you think it generally is health scares and stuff though?
I suppose
if I had to ask you,
I would say so, but I can only go off what I know, if you know what I mean. But I would say, but I think it can be anything. That might wake you up a little bit.
It does seem like it's
like
always
a life-changing event.
It's
got to be life-changing.
It could be like losing something as well, like a person or even a career or a job. Or I would say so.
It's got to be something that sort of makes, basically creates that much of a change in your life that makes you think, Jesus.
Aye. What, just Jesus?
Or maybe Jesus Christ. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, so I asked in this survey, have you had any health scare or big event that woke you up and changed your perspective on life? What percentage do you think said yes? Bear in mind, this isn't of the whole population. It's of like, I don't know, 2,000 people, and not everyone completed the survey. So if you didn't do that, I would
say a high percentage. So I would say at least 70%.
What, had a health scare?
Or a health scare.
Yeah.
Not just
or
something.
Big event. Well,
I would
health
say
scare,
at least 70%.
Well, 48% said no, 52. So basically 50% of the people in that. I still think that's big. I didn't necessarily think it would be that many. But 52% is a canny chunk. Like, why do we wait though? I don't understand that. So, like, for me, if I use my example and sort of my life, it wasn't a health scare. It wasn't anything like that. It was just, I suppose I got to a point, because we all get set off on a path from literally being a kid, where it's like, work hard, you can be a teacher, or work hard, you can be a doctor, or work hard, you can be this, and you'll have a nice house and a nice car, and you're like, oh, well, once I get that, that's all you're told as a kid, that's success. That's when you are something and you should be happy then. But I worked hard, not to become a teacher or a doctor, but I worked hard and I got more than I ever dreamed that I could have possibly had, like so much more than I even in my wildest dreams. And I was just miserable. I just felt so empty. My life, I had nothing. Really, like I had material stuff, but I had nought. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. And if anything, I was more confused because I had everything we told, I suppose, that we should want. And I was just, I don't know, just lost.
Empty.
Aye, full on. And like that led us down a path. So I suppose it was I don't know if you'd class it as traumatic event, but it was traumatic to me, I suppose.
I think it's when to be fair, when you get to a point where you think this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or what was cracked up to be, or what I've been told. Again, there's like a loss there, I would say.
And there was for me. You know who I kind of likened it to a little bit, and that's one of the reasons I started liking him for a bit, was like with Tyson Fury. Because obviously he'd worked his whole time to be Klitschko, and that was why he did it. And then when he did, it's like, now what? It's not as fulfilling, it's not as rewarding as I thought it was going to be. And I honestly did feel, obviously I wasn't like as low as what he was, but I don't know, I was baffled. And then
I think you lose direction though, don't you? Well, you've had a direction, and then you realise that's the wrong direction, and then you just then become a little bit lost in which way to go after that.
I suppose it's as if, like, I don't know, like say you're driving down the A1 and you're trying to get the Metro Centre.
Yeah.
You're like a little mad analogy.
Yeah.
I think this is a good one. So say we're trying to get the Metro Centre and we didn't know how long it was going to take the Metro Centre. Just isn't it? Like, just bear with us, right?
Okay.
The road was closed, so you get off on a diversion, and it's signposted. So the diversion, it's telling you which way to go. So like you're a kid, the Metro Centre is where you want to get to as a kid. The diversion is where you're being sort of told you need to go, because this is the right way you should go. That one's closed, you can't go that way. You have to go this way. And then most of us don't, either without a health scare or a big change in your life, like say what mine was, don't actually ever get to an end, was just driving, just aimlessly following these arrows all the way around the diversion and turn left here, turn right and so on. I got to the end and realised that's not even the Metro Centre. What are you talking about? Where have you took me?
Yeah.
This isn't what I wanted. I was meant to be going to the Metro Centre. That's me analogy. I don't know if that works, but that's how I felt. Yeah. Where it's like, well, what is this? I've followed the path that we were told we were meant to do, and that doesn't work. And I think it's the same realisation I would, and again, just guessing, I haven't had it, but say I got like diagnosed with something then, or what happened with me. Obviously, I'm lucky it wasn't being diagnosed with something. I'm not likening it to that, but it's that sort of, presumably, that shock where you think, shit, I'm on this path like I'm meant to, then this is happening. I'm like, oh, I regret a lot, like not doing a lot of things. Like I've got, I don't know, even say you've got cars and houses and loads of money. Like, would you ever lie on your deathbed and be like, oh, that house though, I've got like them 7 houses. Lush, you'd probably think of like the stupid things. It, like, even if the house is a memory, it's not the thing, it's what happened in the thing.
Yeah.
So like, don't get us wrong, I massively appreciate the fact that I can afford to have a camper van. But now,
but that's not,
it's just
even
the memories in it. In the camper van, it's not the van. It's not how much the van's worth that I would ever think like, oh, what a lush van that was. Would be talking about when the gas ran out, when we were in snow roads, or when we were here, or when we were there. We're not talking about the actual van. If anything, having something that's a bit of a pain in the arse is better to a degree, because you get like mad memories. Like the first 6 months of owning that van, fucking hell. Or like nigh on all the memories we talked about, and normally when stuff was going wrong.
Yeah, but like in that though, what you've said, like you were like at a young enough age where you realise that, like how fuming would you be now if you were still on that diversion path where you thought that's where you should have been going and then you didn't get there at all in life, or you got there at what age, 60 or something like that. I keep using 60, but I don't know why. But at age 60, you'd be like annoyed at yourself, because by that point as well, you probably are going to have problems with your health.
But I think that is the problem, is like a lot of people, like I was lucky, I suppose, that I got to a point quite while I was young and I could wake up to it, where a lot of people just chase it, because you use things as like, oh, well, I'll be happier when I buy this, or when I get this job, or when I get more money, or when I buy a bigger house or better car, or whatever it is. But then every step is just, it's a bit like losing weight, similar sort of thing, where you think, oh, I'll be better once I'm down to 12 stone or 13 stone or 14 stone, whatever it is. You think, oh, I'll be better. Then you get there and you're still not happy. You're like, oh, well, I'm not muscly enough now, or I'm too skinny now. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. You'll never be happy with that. You might be a little bit less unhappy, but as people, we're always striving. And unless you have that scare to just snap you out and think, shit, if everything was took away with us, from us, what would my life be? I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah. Well,
because like the next thing I asked, and I think one of the easiest way on mass to show this was obviously the virus that will not be named.
Mm-hmm.
I asked, how long have you had the camper van or motorhome that you've got? Oh, sorry, how long have you owned camper vans?
Mm-hmm.
So just in general, how many do you think have had it? I had 10 to 15 year, 5 to 10 year, or since the thing, the event happened. How many do you think have had it since the event happened? Would you just guess? What percentage, roughly?
What, since the event happened? I would have said probably half.
Aye, so 56%.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because that sort of was maybe a wake-up call without the huge, and it affected some people, but without having like a massive health scare, like getting diagnosed with something.
I think that it was sort of, obviously I can talk, I suppose, about, because obviously I had a health scare when I was 32, maybe, thyroid cancer, got it removed and stuff like that, and all fine. But it's when then you're faced with the reality of like, actually, this could be, say, terminal, or actually I might not have as long as I thought I had. So like that wakes you up. But I think even with the COVID thing, because the way it was span in the way that the fear mongering that was amongst everybody, especially people who have low immune systems and stuff like that, would have been shit scared. The fact that this virus was going to come and it was going to wipe them out. Obviously, people who weren't of ill health or had like low immune system, like there's lots of things that affect people and stuff like that. But in terms of that, it was like something's coming to get me potentially.
So do you think it was their reaction was as if they actually had?
You've got to think of though the proportion of like people within society that did fall under the vulnerability thing.
Yeah.
There was obviously people that didn't, which is also like it is what it is.
Yeah.
But quite a high proportion of, I would say, people were sort of thinking, actually, if I got this as how they're presenting it to be, would I survive this?
Yeah.
So I think you faced a bit of a, maybe something imminent going to be happening, which threw us all out. So it didn't actually happen to sometimes, don't get us wrong, it happened to some people and it didn't happen to others. But I think it was that fear. I think it woke you up as well.
Because it forced you to look at stuff. Because it's like when everything's took away, because like you could have had £1 million in the bank, 10 million quid in the bank, but you couldn't even buy bog roll.
Yeah.
So you were wiping your ass with grass. Like it doesn't matter how much money you were going to have. I think, and it was the fear of like, I can't get shopping in. Like it didn't matter how much money you had.
Yeah.
You could go to Sainsbury's, you go to Morrison's. I mean, I went to Morrison's at the time. It was near where I lived. And there was nout in. So I had a lot of money sitting there. I could have bought whatever I wanted in the shop, but there was nout in the shop. So then I was like, all of it, like you could have, even if you were a multi-millionaire, it wouldn't have mattered.
That's what, at that time, that was the very thought that went through my head. It's the only thing that actually matters is generally like your relationships. And I think that's what then people got something out of, surprisingly, was those simple connections or communications with people. Right. That was your chatting to your neighbour across the wall. Like that was your, I've just had a bit of crack with my neighbour. Which
someone you've lived next to your whole life.
You've never spoke to them before. I even sort of acknowledged each other. It could be something as simple as that, or I don't know, somebody helping somebody. But it was always
that clapping thing though. However, what was that about?
I used to pretend.
You kind of gone outside, but you can go outside and stand on your doorstep and give nothing a round of applause for a bit.
I did it sometimes, and then I was like, I'm not going to do it all the time.
Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that.
No, but I suppose the point is that the only things that are tend to be of value is sort of your relationships and your memories, that's all you've got.
You kind of tap out elsewhere.
No.
So I think, and I do think, and it worries us to a degree, how many people have just gone back. So COVID did teach us, didn't get us wrong, the whole thing, however you feel about it, I've got very strong opinions on it, which I'm not going to go into in here, but it did help a lot of people just put things into perspective a bit and think, actually, there's more to life than this. There just is. That's one of the things for me. Obviously I didn't have any issues with health. I wasn't worried about it at all, but in terms of everything else, like I lost like 4 stone. I was like, right, I'm going to actually spend a bit of time working on me, trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. And it helped me. It was one of the best things that's ever happened for me.
That's probably the one thing that really steered you in the direction of where you are now, really.
200%.
I would say COVID. So that was a wake-up call for you.
No, it definitely was.
As well, I would say.
Just a different sort of approach because it was the first time I'd ever took some time off from the business and worked on myself. I'd been so focused on work, that I had never had that chance. This was my first chance. So it worked all right for me.
But I would say even sometimes you can go through things sort of in life, but then sometimes you get just trapped back into the, I always feel like just a guinea pig on a thingy wheel. Like you just get trapped into the cycle again. And sometimes you've got to then break out of it. Like nothing has to actually happen, but I think you just consciously have to think, you know what, shit, I've been sucked back in. I need to like break free again.
It's as if it's like magnetic. And I don't like,
but
you just never like if you can break out of it, you're fine. But if you're just on the edge, it's just dragging you back down all the time. I did ask as well, what do people think? Do people think that everyone tends to wait for a major event to happen before they reevaluate their life and what's actually important? And 100% obviously said yes. Yeah, which I think it's true.
It's just the way we're hardwired, I think.
I just don't understand it. I think it's because like so many of us are just trying to keep our head above water. Like you didn't get a chance to look at the bigger picture, but then that's one of the key reasons that I think for me, vans, caravans, camper vans, anything like that is even so valuable.
Hiking, walking, just even though like you don't necessarily have, or even like camping, like it's that sort of being in sort of nature as well, I would say.
I think it's because it's like a reset. It's like when you were a kid and you went to Derwent Hill. I need to cough 2 seconds.
Probably still heard it in mine.
I don't know how much of this will be usable. I've just coughed the whole time. My throat's killing. So apologies to anyone listening to this. I'll try and cut them out in the edit. But I think it's like, say, Derwent Hill or that kind of thing as a kid when I went to that. I mean, we weren't so bad because obviously as a kid we were a lot more active, and I'm sure the older generations were even more active and stuff than us. So like, and we weren't as caught up. But I suppose when like everything's taken away from you, like it does force you to look at like the only thing you've got is your memories. That's the only thing worth anything. And with camper vans, caravans, motorhomes, any of that, like wild camping, tents, whatever, like if you're taking all of your comforts away and you just, and strangely you see what actually does matter. So if we're away in the camper van, I ain't worried about now.
Strangely not.
Until you know you're coming home. Not like, say the day before you come home, or 2 days for you, you'll start stressing about stuff that you need to do when you get home. The rest of the time, you're not worried about any of that at all. It doesn't even cross my mind.
It's because it doesn't matter at all.
But then like even with clothes and stuff though, like you don't need much.
No.
I'm not thinking when I'm in the car. Like yesterday, we went to the Metro Centre, done a bit shopping with the kids and that for the holiday. I'm like, oh, could do with more clothes. Could do with this. You're in like an environment where everyone's dressed up.
It feeds it though, doesn't it?
Aye, and there's all these shops and there's things and buy stuff and there's all these cool...
I want something in a bag.
Aye, and like it drags you in, it does. Where if I sort of stay at home, I just wear hiking gear all the time and I'm happy that. When I'm in the van, I could wear... If I had a few of the same clothes, just the exact same, I couldn't care less. Like that's not what it's about. It means nought. I suppose the only thing that you need to worry about is like what are we eating and where we're going today.
But isn't that, I suppose, even just a holiday in general, that's what the holiday is. Sometimes, you know, when you like, even if you go, I don't know, caravan, wherever, abroad, like that's because you've only got that to focus on. It's a nice feeling because you're not thinking about everything else. You're just thinking like where we're going to eat today, what we're going to drink and what we're doing. Like that's about as far as your thinking goes when and I suppose that's the point of like having a break and a holiday is that.
Why do we do it? So we actually do it to ourselves when you think about it. So why do we think I'm going to go to work to save up enough money to get myself in some more debt, so I have to go back to work. When, like, why do we not just try, like, that's one of the things I've been massively sort of championing and trying to scale our life to, where it's a sustainable life, where it's like, right, I want to get rid of as much of the stuff as I can so I can have a better balance between this kind of work stuff and the stuff we want to do. Because other than that, you're going to work all day, every day. Why, like, I don't know, you feel like it's important and you need stuff, but literally nothing means now. Like, if you're lying on your deathbed, you're not going to be thinking about, oh, I'm going to miss my boss shirt or this. Like, it's just not a thing.
I would say you're right. Like, you've made that reference sort of before, as where you, I don't know how you said it, it's sort of, you go out, you buy, or you what was that thing you said? Buy, and then you're just sort of working harder. You need more money to now buy the more expensive things.
But that never stops. So
it just scales up, doesn't it?
You think there's going to be like a cut off where once I've got enough of this, like, say, I don't know, say if I'm on 50 grand a year, what if I can get to 75, I'll be fine, or 80 or 100. And like,
but all you do is actually buy more expensive stuff. That's what you said.
When we first met, you, obviously my lifestyle at that point was just ridiculous. And I remember you thinking, like, how can you possibly spend that much money a month? And within 2 to 3 months, you realise that, like, nothing actually changes at all.
All that actually does happen, you've made this point before loads of times, is that everything just scales up. So, like, you might have more money, but then you've got more outgoings, and that's all that seems to happen. So you might have a more expensive car, a more expensive house, but then your outgoings, you have to have that money like that amount of money to pay for that outgoings, and
like,
then all that does is just rise up. So you're not like achieving that sort of happiness, anything. All you're just doing is earning more money to pay for more things that you don't actually need at all.
Well, that leads us on. The next thing, as I said, the next question was, do you find yourself prioritizing experiences and memories over material possessions now more than you did before? Because
what was the percentage?
84% said yes.
Yeah.
So presumably the 16% were, because there's some people that are just not like that at all.
Yeah.
And they're just happy they didn't need loads of stuff. They want the experience stuff, and they're happy doing stuff rather than buying things. I wish I'd been like that when I was younger.
Yeah.
I don't know how I ended up the way I did, but
I think it's a bit like what you said, is though, like, once you're in the school and the education system, it's putting you already on that sort of path of like, that's what you need to do to be successful. So you just naturally walk that path, really.
And maybe that's why it takes something to just snap you out of it, because until you snapped out of it, you didn't know. Because if you I was raised really well, I had a great upbringing and all the rest of it, but like the message even from my mum and stuff as a kid was like, no, you need to get into work, you need to do this, like, you need this, you need to stick, even that job. It's like, well, if you hate, I mean, I wasn't great as an employee. Sorry if anyone's watching who I work for. I think I had like 30 jobs. So I had a few, and I used to just be like, well, I didn't like it, I'm going to find another one. But it was very much like encouraged to not do that, and just to be like, no, like, steer that job, do that thing, be good at it, and get yourself to a point. Because it's like, sort of, I don't know whether it's the money, the success thing, or whatever it is, but it's like hardwired where you have to be academically successful or have a career, which is fine, and some people are like that, but there's more to life than just that. And clearly people realise that as soon as they have any sort of major issues. But like, why did it take a major issue to get us to that point, though? I just didn't understand that. Like,
I don't know whether we'd ever figure that part out.
Like, and again, this is a conversation. So anyone in the comments on any of the platforms, let us know sort of how you feel about that. Like, is that a thing? Because it seems to be a relatively common thing when we talk to people when we're away.
Well, that's what we love about when we do travel, is when you stop and like speak to somebody and you like listen to their story. I'll tell a story when we went to Wyther on the NC 500 for the first time.
It was Torridon.
Yes, it was Torridon, and I was in the like washroom washing.
We actually stayed at a campsite.
We did
a camper van and motorhome club on that one.
Yeah, that was at the very beginning, obviously, when we got the camper van. But anyways, I was washing some pots and that, whatever we had for dinner or me tea. And there was a lady beside us, and we just got chatting, and she was started to tell us that story of like why she was there and what. I hope she doesn't mind us telling the story.
No one watches, so
no, but like she had said, so her and her husband had always said for years and years and years that they wanted to do the NC 500 and travel around together, and he ended up getting Alzheimer's like really quite young.
Yeah.
So he was actually then had to go into like a care home. So she then took it upon herself to like live their dream for both of them, but herself. So she hired a camper van, and she was actually working as well. She was like doing like phone calls for work and stuff like that as she was traveling.
Yeah.
But that was such a big sort of jump of like, do you know what it is? Like, this is my life, but I'm going to go and do this now.
Yeah.
For both of us. And she sort of lived out their
Just
dream
sad though, innit?
just on her
Like,
own.
you never get that chance. Because how many people do you know where, like, I would say I personally know of at least 3 or 4 different people who have grafted successfully, had very good careers, retired, and then being dead within 2 years of retiring.
Well, you hear
so
that.
like all the plans where it's like they weren't there for the kids really because they were busy working away. Then they were like, oh, when we go away, we're going to buy a holiday home. We're going to get to here. We're going to get to Malta. We're going to go wherever. And then as soon as they retire, they get some sort of illness and then they die. Like, you literally, and that's like a cliche, cheesy thing, but tomorrow is never guaranteed.
Well,
Out could happen.
Even the rest of today is not guaranteed either, really.
All right, a bit grim. I'm doing the school run later. I feel like,
well, that's
honestly,
why
mentally,
I always say it to you, like, oh, like, even when you leave the house, I'm always like, you just worry, don't you? And then I'm like, oh, you've made it home. Thank goodness for that. Like, you survived another day.
It's how loved I am when I do the school run. If she loved us that much, it'd not matter as day it.
You'd make me do it instead.
200%. Be like, bye.
Well, we do school runs, we just go in separate directions.
But it is a thing, and I just wish. I think everyone should at some point, and I know we're preaching to the converted, I suppose, because most people who watch this and listen probably have a camper van or have experienced it, but it's such a valuable thing just to like get out and experience what life's actually like, because it's not all the stuff that you get caught up in. It's so different. And like, even if you do just strip everything back, you realize how little you actually need. And I think it's just the memories, because how boring is it to talk to them people when all they're like, oh, I want this car. Oh yeah, we've been buying a new house. I don't know what accent that is. I love doing these accents. But like, you know what I mean? Where all they talk about is like, oh, we went shopping the other day. And it's just always about buying stuff. I'm like, get a grip. It's like talking to a pigeon.
Really?
Well, I couldn't like, I guess the boring. You know, other than wood pigeons, by the way, I think it's a wood pigeon. There's 2 nesting again under our log store. They do it every year. I
didn't know the wood pigeons. They fly out at me every day.
So they look like Spitfires. They've got the white line down the wings. And they fly and then flap up into the air and then just sail. They look like they're having a whale of a time.
Yeah, they do actually.
They look like they're having more fun than any other bird in the sky.
When I went out this morning, only one, because normally when I go past like the nest, they both fly out at us and then like go off somewhere, but only one flew out today. And the last 2 time
there on the fence. Because
I was thinking, I hope that hasn't like lost its partner.
No, because the stork was trying to catch them. The stork killed the babies last year.
That was it,
got in the eggs.
But not
Honestly, it's like something off planet Earth in this garden sometimes, the amount of wildlife we get in here. We had a couple of deer at the fence the other day, didn't we?
Yeah, it was lovely.
House up for sale if anyone wants to buy it. But yeah, I just wanted to ask that, because for me now, I am on this sort of pursuit of less.
Yes,
I want
less
stuff.
More.
I want less stuff and more time and memories.
Yeah.
And the sort of 2 of them are tied together, generally speaking. There's like a threshold where you get, I suppose. But the people who become so ultra successful, who can afford the time, are so consumed by the success and the career, and that's their valuable thing, they probably don't even want the time to do stuff, because they like work to the life.
Yeah. So
there's like, I suppose there's like balances to everything. To be that successful, you're addicted to work, and that's all you can think about. And the people sometimes who have less can have a more fulfilling life that way. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. It's just like, I don't know, like for me, I just want time to be able to do the things I enjoy doing. That's it. I didn't care about no else.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things I really want to even encourage with the kids is to like go and travel, go and experience stuff, go and meet people, go and see other cultures, go and do whatever you want to do
Just
while
go
you've
and-
got a chance.
Yeah.
And didn't tie yourself into now, didn't get yourself into like the world of like, that's why I'm a bit against all that academic stuff. It's like, all right, sound, I'll go into school, which they could condense primary and secondary school down into 3 year
Probably.
combined. You're learning out of
However,
any importance.
The babysitters though, babe, at the same time.
You just sit on the fence. You're scared. You interrupt me because you're worried about what
No,
I'm
I'm
going
not.
to
I
say.
actually think like for some parents, especially when I was on like me on with the meal, like school was like a babysitting facility, so I could go to work.
Well, I just to do what? To buy more things that you didn't need
true.
to then. That's
And have
the thing,
no
though.
time with the Ben.
I need to go into work to buy things for the band.
Who I don't say.
Even that's what I mean. If you look at it like that, it's mad that we all live like that. But that is a thing. Like you could condense primary school into probably a year. Reading and writing is the only thing they learn there. Nothing else is of value. Time with kids, other kids, but you didn't have to do that in school. Secondary school, I mean, you already know how to read and write. Most of the rest, like history, made up. It is.
Okay.
It's fully made up. It is.
It depends on whose side of the story you're telling, though, babe.
That's exactly what
Because
I mean. So it's
not
made up.
Well,
It is.
based on whoever's story you're telling.
Well, what if I want to be on the other side?
That's fine.
You
But
cannot in these
but
schools.
it's still part of that version of history.
And how much of
That
it's wrong?
person's side of history, I guess.
I don't know what I done last week, so how do we know that what was written in books hundreds or even thousands of years ago is right?
I don't know. I'm not intelligent.
Well, there we go. So that's like encourage. Let them do stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Let them experience stuff. Get outside. Get outside. Let's do this. Teach them practical things. Teach them, but they cannot because if they did, people wouldn't want to go into college, which is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Uni, which is a waste of time. Do the job, learn the skill, and experience it.
yeah.
Didn't write it down on a bit of paper. I didn't need any paper.
But taking a side step from that, it just reminded us actually, you know, when you were talking about people's stories,
Yeah.
like you for ages have wanted to do something with that. So like meet people with the camper vans, take a photo.
I didn't even know where I would start with that. I want to write a book. I want to write a book where I speak. There's so many amazing stories when you're on the road.
Yeah.
You meet so many. It's
You could
by
start it
far
from
our
this.
favourite bit.
We could do a phone in.
Phone in.
Can you remember them?
Right, I'm not giving my number out. I like if you was out.
No.
It'll just be all creepers ringing up. Is that Danny?
You have to just
Have you got any socks on?
you'll have to have a what do you call it, a work phone then.
Oh, yeah, do that. But I wanted to start a project where I suppose like we've met so many people and heard so many insane stories where they've just been through stuff or they've just had such an interest in life. And I wanted to do me photography, take like a portrait of them and the van. But as they are, knee posed stuff, knee like, oh, can I do my hair? It's like, no, it has to be how they are at that time, which is a hurdle because most people are not comfortable like that. But that, the van, and then the story.
Yeah. I think that would be a really good book. I would buy that.
I'd force you to buy it.
No, but I would actually buy it myself. I wouldn't need to be forced.
It's just going to be a big project and something that will probably take years.
Yeah, but could start it though.
So if you've had an interesting story or anything like that,
And you want to be photographed.
send us an email, chris@sloansmedia.com, and we'll discuss this project because I would love to.
But a bit like what you were saying, sorry.
I also asked,
What?
do you think time away living a simpler life such as van travel helps with mental well-being? What percentage do you think said yes?
100%.
100.
Did they actually?
100 with a capital O. 100.
100%, I'm not surprised.
100%.
So if that's the case though, then it shows you something works by,
does.
again, going back to simple lifestyle. And again, I always nature. That's the only other thing. Like you feel just at peace.
I think, and it sounds a bit hippie, and I'm not into all that spiritual stuff, generally speaking, right? I know you are a little bit more than me. But I think like we've got some sort of connection with me. Because, you know, when we're on a hike somewhere, see you on top of Gorfell, and you're like standing at the top looking down, it's a mad old feeling. Like, it's as if, like, everything's just put into perspective a bit. And I
Yeah.
don't think you can, like, when you're up there, you're not thinking, oh, look at that nice house in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, the things like that, it mean absolutely nought. And you're not even thinking of that. You're just looking at the whole thing and just feeling like how, I suppose, insignificant we
Yeah.
actually are when you look at it on that scale. And that's not, imagine what it must be like being on an actual big mountain somewhere.
Yeah. But do you not think that it's that insignificant part that you've just spoke about there? Like, it's that, because you realise you, like, against nature and stuff like that, you're nothing.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, you can come to your end on that sort of hike up.
The goat fell murderer.
Yeah. But, like, you know, that...
Sometimes I think I'm going to come to the end. Once you read that book, I thought I was getting buried on Gofell, mate. I thought you were reading it for tips.
No, but it was interesting, a little read, though.
Canny one, wasn't it?
But I think it is about the insignificance or part of you, because then you realise, and it puts you in your place, I guess. Because I think we think we're more important than what we
I think
are.
all of the little things matter. We sweat the small stuff.
But really, like, you have no chance against anything, really, nature and stuff. If it wanted to take a hold or something happened.
Yeah. Well, like, memories are the only thing. Because, like, memories serve... I read it in a book, and I don't know which book it was. But basically, the whole principle behind it was that... it wasn't, man. It was that podcast, the bloke, about basically spending all your money now.
Oh, yes.
Because basically what he said was, if you're investing in memories and in experiences, it's like a double investment. So, like, you get it, like, paid back in dividends. So like, you experience that thing. If we're going hiking or we're going somewhere and it's beautiful, we enjoy it, like, we get the reward then. But then we relive the reward when we get to talk about it and, like, relive the memory. And that's massively true.
Well, that's what we put on when we started the guidebooks, and that's what one of the bit of paper, cards inside of it is about, that sort of, you're making memories that last a lifetime. But I'm going to be a little bit thingy here, because obviously my nana's in a care home with dementia.
Oh,
so can
God.
you imagine?
Took a grim turn.
I know, but can you imagine, like, obviously, you know, when you say, like, when
you
you're on
live
your
a
death,
fulfilling life, have all these memories, and then get dementia.
yeah, and you can't remember
But
them.
you got no money. But then neither of them would matter.
No,
the
neither
difference
of them
is
would matter.
that way, though, if you do get dementia, which I would honestly say must be the worst.
It is,
For, like,
if you can't even communicate.
Not for the
either.
person, they didn't. Probably, well, I mean, we didn't know, but presumably they didn't know much about it. Whereas
You
it's
hope
the
so.
family. But, like, at least that way, even if you've done that, you'll still, like, the people will remember and have stories to talk
That's
about.
true.
Whereas if you got dementia
That
and
is
all,
true.
you just work and you had loads of money, I'd be buzzing because it'd be like, well,
Whereas-
we've put Sandra in the care home and we've got a big house. But
Yeah.
there's no memories there. There's no.
Well, that's the thing. Even when obviously I'm there, say, with the bin, and I'll say, oh, my nana was like this, or she was always outside playing badminton with us, or she was always knitting and doing this for us. Like, so again, like, you bring back all the memories, although my nana kind sort of do that for herself.
Yeah.
I'm doing it in place of that. So it's quite a, when you think of it like that, so it was a good point.
Yeah, I think, like, it's
Other
much
people
more
tell your
because that's
memories.
the thing.
Yeah.
Like, they live on. It's like a legend. Imagine,
Oh, it's like storytelling, really. I suppose that's what comes back to.
because that's the difference. See, if I talk about, say, my nana and my granddad, the two, like, same house, lived in the same house. With my nana, I'd done so many things, had so many memories. We'd done all sorts. She took us all over the place. We went to the shops. We went to the... Nah, it sounds mad, but going to the shops with my nana was so cool. Like, not that
The
she had much
simple
money.
things.
She made it fun. Just the walk to the shops was cool. We're going through the Dean, find, like, little ant colonies, and just, it was always interesting. So I've got so many memories with my granddad. The only thing I can really remember is that he just liked watching the horse racing on the telly. Like, I didn't really spend any time doing anything with him specifically. So, like, you kind of have that's about it. Whereas with my nana, there's loads of stories and I
You could
remember
talk
them.
endlessly about the memories, though, couldn't you, of your nana and
And
stuff?
that's the thing, like, even with us, like, how many things, some of them, there's that many. That's why we do the photo books. I need to do that, actually, for April.
I was going to
haven't
say,
even done April's.
I know, I thought that the other day, but
Yeah.
technically we're doing the kids a favour by having all these memories.
There we go.
I know.
There we have it. So if your kids whinge that they didn't see you because you're away, just say, I'm doing you a favour.
I'll make memories for you to tell when I'm dead.
Watch us on YouTube, you little freak.
But no, I thought that because obviously you do it like a memory book.
So every part of like a photography project, and because I love doing it and I love having a physical thing, because that's a thing. Just some major event and electric gone, notes left, we'll be knackered. But anyway, I print a photo book every month of the year with just anything from proper photography stuff, like nice stuff, to like shitty photos, to everything in between, just so we can look back on and be like, oh, because sometimes you completely forget and then you look back at like the month before and you're like, did we do that last month? I couldn't even. So you'd be surprised how much you remember. Yeah,
I was going to say that when we keep talking about memories and stuff like that, how much we actually don't remember so much stuff though at the same time.
Yeah.
It's strange.
So that's it then, I suppose. It seems to be pretty unanimous. I just thought it would be something interesting to talk about because obviously we feel like that. We have been discussing it lately and it seems like you do as well. So again, let us know in the comments what you think about this, if you've had that sort of experience. If you've got any cool stories that you want to maybe share with us and we can talk about them in a future podcast.
What about, say, people who haven't had that sort of wake up, like what actually made them though?
Were you brought up that way? Were you around that a lot as a kid? What was it? So, but either way, let us know. Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the next one.